Okay, let's talk about civic sense in India. It's something we hear complaints about all the time, right? But what if I told you the real problem isn't what we think it is? We're going to dig into why the root cause might be completely different from what you assume. First, just take a look at this. It's pretty stark. On the one hand, you've got the quiet, clean, organized streets of a place like Copenhagen. And on the other, you've got the daily reality for millions in India. It really is like looking at two completely different planets. So when you see a contrast like that, you have to ask a really uncomfortable question. Are some people just better? Are they born more civilized? No way. Of course not. There is something much, much deeper going on here, and it really boils down to three big problems we're about to unpack. Okay, problem number one. This is a big one, and it's something many people are pretty uncomfortable talking about. It's a social mindset built around these invisible walls of caste and class that have been around for centuries. This quote just hits the nail on the head. See, the problem isn't just about littering. It's about our entire relationship with the act of cleaning itself, who does it, and how we see them. For a long, long time, a rigid social hierarchy has basically taught people to see cleanliness as, well, someone else's job. It creates this huge mental disconnect. Keeping our shared spaces clean isn't our job, it's a task for a specific group of people. It's a massive mental block. And what's really wild is how different this is from so many other places. In most developed countries, cleaning your own toilet or taking out your own trash is just normal. It's part of being an adult. But in India, because of poverty and unemployment, cheap labor's everywhere, which just reinforces this old, damaging idea that some people are above doing this kind of work. So that's the mindset piece. Now let's move on to problem number two, because it's not just in our heads, it's in the world around us. We're dealing with a fundamentally broken system. All right, we've all seen this, and let's be honest, our first reaction is usually to judge, right? We blame the person. We think, ugh, no civic sense. But what if we're pointing the finger in the wrong direction? What if we're blaming the victim of a system that's completely failed them? And this is the sad reality so much of the time. You're a street vendor, a delivery guy. You need to go, but the only public toilet nearby is locked, or it's so disgusting you can't even walk in, or there's no water. When the system gives you zero good options, what choice do you really have? And it goes for everything. How can we expect people to stay in their lane if there are no lanes painted on the road? How can you ask someone to not litter if there isn't a single dustbin for miles? You can't expect people to follow rules in an environment that is designed for chaos. The system is basically setting everyone up to fail. Okay, so we've got the social mindset and the broken system. The third and final piece of this puzzle brings it all together. And it's a very personal one, a deep, profound empathy gap. A failure to see ourselves as part of one community. You've probably seen drone shots of our big cities that show this. It's shocking. You'll see a literal wall. On one side, a beautiful, pristine apartment complex with pools and gardens, and right on the other side of the wall, absolute squalor. They are inches apart, but they might as well be on different planets. And this quote just captures that bubble mentality perfectly. The goal is to make your private world, your apartment, your gated community, perfect. And you just learn to ignore what's right outside your window. There's no sense of responsibility for the public space we all share. Because really, when you strip it all away, that's all civic sense is. It's empathy. It's that little voice in your head that says, hey, if I throw this on the ground, some other human being is going to have to bend over and pick it up. It's seeing our connection to each other. So, if blaming and shaming people clearly doesn't work, what's the answer? Well, the solution has to come from a systematic change. We need to shift the burden of responsibility from the individual citizen and put it back where it belongs, on the system. So, instead of the current approach, which is basically just yelling at people, the strategy has to be done in order. Step one, you educate. You teach kids in school about respect and shared spaces. Step two, and this is the most important one, you build the infrastructure. The clean toilets, the dustbins, the proper roads, and then, and only then, once you've given people the tools they need, do you move to step three. You enforce the rules with fines. And this whole idea is actually captured beautifully by a single Danish word, samfundssind. It basically means social-mindedness. It's the total opposite of that bubble mentality we talked about. It's this core belief that what's good for society as a whole is more important than my own personal convenience. And if you want to see what that looks like in practice, look at this. This is how people in Denmark sort their trash into 10 different categories: glass, metal, plastic, food cartons. They don't do this because they're born better. They do it because the system is designed to make it easy, and the culture tells them it's the right thing to do. And this isn't some unique Danish magic trick. Countries all over the world have figured this out. In Japan, kids clean their own schools. In Germany, a plastic bottle is worth money, so you'd never throw it away. In Singapore, they actually rate public toilets for cleanliness. These aren't theories. These are proven systems that work. So, you see, the blueprint for a cleaner, more considerate country is already out there. It's not a mystery. It relies on building a system that encourages our better natures instead of just blaming our worst impulses. The real question isn't whether people can change, it's whether we as a society are finally ready to demand a system that we can all be proud of.